Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to the live stream. I hope everything's going out good today. Had a little bit of audio problem. If there's an issue, let me know. We're going to talk about a lifestyle plan you can follow to increase your energy. It's going to be like I'm going to relate it to myself a little bit, like my morning routine, my midday routine, my evening routine to maintain like optimal health and just stay in top shape. And also, I'm also going live on Instagram today for the first time. And guys, everyone on Instagram, I appreciate you showing up. If you want to see, I have a whole slide presentation that I'm doing. Unfortunately, I can't pull it up on Instagram, but I can pull it up on YouTube. So if you look me up, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 on YouTube, or if you go to my Facebook page, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉 Fitness on Facebook, you'll see all the slides. It'll be a little bit of a better presentation. Plus, I can pull in all your comments within the live stream. But I'm still going to be looking over here. If you want to stay on Instagram, that's great too. But I appreciate you showing up. We're going to go over. Let me go to the next slide. So this is like kind of like my first slide. If you're on YouTube, you can see this. This is like the agenda, like exactly what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over like my healthy routines, right? We're going to go over like morning routines, midday routines. We're going to talk about like a diet and workout plan that I follow that I really recommend to so many people. We're also going to go over like an evening routine, like what I do in the evening to wind down. And then we're going to also talk about, I'm going to share some of my own personal opinions on like what I'm struggling with and all that. It's interesting because I hope everyone can hear me on YouTube. Typically I would get a lot of comments at this point. I don't see them. And I had a little issue with my audio interface. So let me see if everyone on Instagram can hear me. If you can, somebody just give me like a thumbs up. That would be wonderful. And people on YouTube or Facebook, if you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up just to make sure it's going broadcast. Otherwise, I'm going to unplug this audio interface and the sound won't be as good, but I think it will go. Everything should go through. Okay. I'm assuming everything is good. So let's get this party started. I appreciate everybody showing up. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is the healthy. Okay, this is Patel. Just got in from London, Mike. Okay, so I guess it's going through. I guess this audio interface, I had to change the audio interface. I guess it's working. All right, fantastic, cool. Hey, Gwen is here. I can hear you. Oh, thanks, Gwen. Okay, so I guess everything is great. All right, guys. And I have to keep on harping on it. Everyone on Instagram, if you want to see these slides and you want to see the comments, just jump on to Facebook or jump on to YouTube, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. Thanks for showing up, Peg, James, Bianca. I really appreciate it. Okay, morning routine. Okay, obviously, I'm really big into working on your circadian rhythm, like your 24-hour internal clock. You know, your circadian rhythm kind of regulates pretty much every single process within the body, your hormones, your genes. It starts all different reactions. So in my opinion, it's really good. And I'm not just pulling this out of AI. One great book is The Circadian Code by Dr. Panda. I love that book. I read it like a number of times. I listen to it on audio when I'm walking all the time too. Like going to bed and waking up at the same time every day is a great thing for your circadian rhythm. It kind of like sets your 24-hour internal clock. Other things that affect your circadian rhythm is the time of day which you eat. So if you can eat the same times during the day, that's also a good thing. Like getting sunlight first thing in the morning is an incredible thing for your circadian rhythm. Like once sunlight hits your eyes, it like jump starts everything. So these are things that I do that I recommend people do just to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Plus, the more sunlight you take in during the day, like the better you're going to sleep at night. That's why it's so important to get sunlight before 10 a.m. in the morning. Not with your glasses on. I know these are the blue blocking glasses, but I got all these LED lights hitting me. You know, not with sunscreen on. I know a lot of gals always have makeup on, my wife included, when she goes out, but I want her to get outside first thing in the morning or before 10 a.m. before the makeup's on, just to absorb some of that sunlight. Oh, Chaz is here too. Oh, that's cool. Kathleen, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Okay, so I generally like to wake up relatively early. I recommend most people do pretty much the same time every single day. And I do this little ritual. Hey, Alexandra. Let's see. Susan's here too, which I appreciate. I'm sorry if I'm Instagram, guys, you won't be able to see this. And then we got Alexandra here too. I'm curious to see how you're doing with your weight loss journey, your weight loss goals. Okay. So I do this little ritual actually before I get out of bed every single morning. And I do two things. First of all, I do this 4-7-8 breathing. And it's really simple. You know, I got this from Andrew Weil. You know, he wrote that book, Optimal Health. He was one of the first. Hey, Elisa. Hey, thanks for showing up. That's great. I'm going live also on YouTube and Facebook. If you want to see the slides in this presentation, jump over to YouTube, 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾, or go over to Facebook, 𝘾𝙊𝘼 Fitness, and have all these slides. You know, it's a much better live stream. I don't have the software to go live like this on Instagram. But I do this this breathing pattern. I only do 4 breaths before I get out of bed in the morning, and it's pretty much, it's real simple how you do it. You put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, kind of like yoga breathing. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold that breath for 7 seconds, and then you slowly breathe out through your mouth for 8 seconds. And I only do 4 repetitions, so it takes me a little more than a minute, but it kind of like settles me down. And I always do this before I get out of bed, and I always do this right before I go to sleep at night. It's one of these rituals. It's really great. It kind of like sets your morning. And the other thing I do is just a quick gratitude thing. You know, like I do the same thing. I before I get out of bed, first I do my 4-7-8 breathing. You know, my alarm goes off. I get up really early, you know, because I'm always training clients 6:30 in the morning generally. And then I do this little bit of gratitude. I just say to myself, you know, I'm so happy for my kids, for my parents, for my brother, his family, for my wife. I go through this little, just like 2-minute speech in my head, and it kind of like sets me up for the day. And then I love to jump out of bed and I'm in a good mood. I did my 4-7-8 breathing, and I did my little bit of gratitude. And then the first thing I like to do, and I recommend most people do this, is you want to hydrate yourself because you're dehydrated over the night, right? And I really like the lemon juice. You know, I squeeze half a lemon. I generally like mineral water. I'm a big believer in drinking like Pellegrino mineral water. I know it's a little expensive, but mineral water is good for you because it's high in minerals, right? You want to get 400 milligrams of magnesium every single day. And a liter of Pellegrino has about 50 milligrams, so you get 25% there just by drinking a liter of water. I put 16 ounces because that's what I recommend for most people, but I literally will do like 32 ounces. I'll do 2 big glasses of mineral water. I drink almost a whole liter. In the morning, I take my time with it. I sit down, and then I generally like to drink black coffee. And I gave myself a couple. I'm kind of setting this up for other people, but depending upon my schedule, sometimes I could have a super early client like 6:30. But typically, I will go out and take a 45-minute walk first thing in the morning. I recommend walking first thing in the morning. First of all, walking is probably the best single thing you can do for your physical and mental health. First, it's so good for your mental health. You know, you got a problem, anything's troubling you, go take a walk. You're going to figure it out. You're going to feel so much better. Plus, I'm into that whole circadian rhythm thing like I talked about earlier. I want sunlight to hit my eyes, to hit my skin, to hit my body. No sunscreen, no sunglasses, first thing in the morning. But sometimes I have to vary the schedule. For example, if I can't do it first thing, I may have to go train a couple of clients. I may have a 6:30, a 7:30. I may do this walk at 9:15. But I clear my schedule and I prioritize. I want to be outside in sunlight. And I recommend everyone who's listening to this do the same thing. And who's behind me with this is my other favorite podcast, the Andrew Huberman. If you never listen to him, check it out. He's that professor from Stanford, Huberman Labs, my favorite podcast. If there's one thing he keeps on harping on is the importance of getting that sunlight first thing in the morning to set everything, set your enzymes, set your hormones, your genes. It just jump starts everything. So he would recommend that you can do this too. If you don't have time to take a walk, get outside, drink your coffee, drink your mineral water with the lemon outside for 10 minutes. Get 10 minutes of unprotected sun. Even if it's cloudy out, even if it's drizzling, you're still going to absorb the light. But you got to get outside. And it's so good for your mental health and everything just to be outside. Okay, and if you follow me, you know I'm a big believer of this intermittent fasting, time restricted eating. And if you're really new to this, intermittent fasting just means that you're giving yourself a smaller eating window. I do all different. If you've been following me for years, I must have 200 videos on YouTube. I must have like on intermittent fasting, time restricted eating. I must have hundreds on Instagram and TikTok too on this subject. But the most simple way to do it is like a 16-day. You fast for 16 hours. You're taking all your calories within an 8-hour eating window. And if you do it intermittently, if you don't do it every day, you call that intermittent fasting. If you do it every single day, I would call that time-restricted eating or time-restricted feeding, people say. And that's pretty much the protocols that I follow. Like, for example, Sundays I do OMAD. I only eat 1 meal a day on Sunday, so it's a low-calorie day for me. And I think intermittent fasting, there's tons of health benefits to it, besides the fact that you just eat less. Most people just eat less. So it's a great way to keep calories under control. So after my morning routine, I generally will fast pretty much most days until noon, until 12 o'clock. I'm going to break this down when I go into my midday routine a little bit more. But sometimes I do this little bit of a protein hack. If you notice on the bottom of this slide, and once again, everyone on Instagram, jump over to YouTube or Facebook if you want to see these slides. Sometimes I'll take an essential amino acid supplement. And the reason why I do that, sometimes around 10 o'clock or maybe either right before, right after I take that walk, is that there is a good amount of research now saying that early time restricted eating, like, it's probably better for maintaining muscle mass and putting on muscle as opposed to doing a late time restricted eating, meaning that it's probably a good idea to take in some protein around 10 o'clock. But if you don't want to break your fast, you can do something like an essential amino acid supplement. Essential amino acid supplement are the 9 essential amino acids, and they're generally high in those branched chain aminos like leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Those are the ones that help build and maintain muscle the most. And it's almost no calories. Like, for example, 1 scoop of a whey protein isolate will have maybe 120 calories, 25 grams of protein. But you can take an essential amino acid supplement just for those 9 essential aminos, get what's equivalent to maybe 25 grams of protein and maybe 10, 15 calories with that essential amino acid supplement. So technically, maybe you're slightly breaking the fast, but I do think there's a lot more benefit than harm. So I do that a lot. I'll take an essential amino acid supplement, or maybe I'll take some branched chain aminos at 10 to kind of not break my fast, but to get some protein into my system. I tried an early time restricted eating schedule on and off, and it doesn't work for me too well because I generally have dinner around 7 o'clock. If I would eat at 10 and be done at 4, it just socially it messes me up. I want to eat dinner with my kids and my wife, so it kind of messes me up. So that's a pretty good morning routine. If you have any questions about this morning routine, let me know. But the gist of it really is you wake up pretty much the same time every day, right? You hydrate yourself really well. I like to squeeze a half a lemon. It's debatable, in my opinion, lemon juice will not break a fast either, because research has shown that, some studies have even shown that it actually lowers blood sugar. I think it's a good thing to do to lemon juice, a little vitamin C, 2-3 calories in a lemon, not something like that. Then you want to get outside, you want to get that sunlight, you want to set that circadian rhythm. And if you can walk in the morning, it would be a big plus, a big bonus. And I'm also a believer in doing multiple bouts of walking during the day as opposed to just doing one walk. There's one great study talking about just walking 10 minutes after you eat, like after you eat a meal. Let's say you're eating a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you just walk 10 minutes after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it helps control blood sugar just as well as taking metformin, which is like a diabetics, a medicine diabetes, someone with type 2 diabetes would take to help control blood sugar. It really works that good. So multiple bouts of walking, even multiple bouts of exercise, in my opinion, is better than just going for the gym for an hour once a day. And I always debate this with people, but even though I've been a fitness trainer for over 35 years, I've owned a gym for 35 years, I've really been a fitness trainer for longer than that before I opened up my gym. If I had to choose between someone coming to my gym for an hour, 3 days a week, or just living an active lifestyle, like walking, 5 miles a day, doing a little calisthenic type movements, mobility movement at home, being active, I would go with an active lifestyle every single time. No doubt about it. Let's see who else is here. Hey, Margaret, thanks for showing up. This is cool. These are all the comments I'm pulling in from, most likely from YouTube and Facebook. Hey, Jeff is here too. This is Jeff. Okay, Jeff's got a question. I've got my coffee, just almond milk and liquid stevia in it, doing 5-2, and Sunday is one of the two. Okay, so if you don't know what Jeff's talking about, 5-2, it means that you eat normally for 5 days, and then 2 days after the week, you do an extremely low calorie day. Some people like to eat about 25% of their normal calories. So for example, if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, 2 days a week, you only eat 500. It's a great way to reduce calories. It's like, you would call it a form of intermittent fasting. And generally, you can do those 2 days back to back, or you can do them intermittently. It looks like Jeff is doing them intermittently. Like today is a 2-day, so he's eating extremely low calorie today. Some people just do a 24-hour fast twice a week. You can call that 5-2. I like this strategy a lot. I think it's a manageable, reasonable way to do it with the intermittent fasting. Plus, it's a great way to cycle calories, which is good for your metabolism. So 5 days out of the week, say you're at maintenance calories. My formula for maintenance calories is take your body weight times it by 15. So if you're 200 pounds, you eat 3,000 calories that day. And then 2 days out of the week, you would be eating extremely low calories, maybe 700-800 calories. I think it's a great way to reduce body fat, for sure. Let's see, who else is here? Patel's here too. I add apple cider. Okay, ACV stands out. I add apple cider vinegar with my lemon first thing in the morning. I love that too. Similar to lemon juice, apple cider vinegar also has been shown to help lower and control blood sugar. A little bit more, some of the research is more because it's the acidic acid in the apple cider vinegar. Plus, apple cider vinegar is a fermented food, which is good for feeding the good bacteria in your stomach. But the apple cider vinegar is a great trick. Or sometimes I hate to use the term hack or trick, but it's a good thing to do before meals. Like, for example, if I do a cheat meal, meaning that every now and then I like to cycle my carbohydrates, and I like to eat maybe a high carb meal. Maybe I'll go eat a whole pizza once a month, something like that. I was just in Italy, actually. It was incredible. I had a bunch of pizza in Italy. I would do a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in mineral water, and it'll help control blood sugar post-meal. You know, some people do feel like one major indicator of your longevity, like how healthy and long you're going to live, is how well you can control blood sugar over the course of your lifetime. That's why it's really popular now. You'll see people wearing those, even if you're not type 2 diabetic, you'll see people wearing those 24-hour glucose monitors, and they're just seeing how they react to different foods. And it's really interesting because I follow a few guys on Instagram and TikTok, and it's kind of cool. They got hundreds of videos, and all they really do is they wear this 24-hour glucose monitor. Glucose means that when you eat carbohydrates and like foods, you're breaking the sugar, like blood glucose into glucose. You know, it runs through your bloodstream. That's what we mean by blood sugar. And they show how, you know, like some foods will spike blood sugar much more than others. And even when you're combining foods, there's a trend now saying that when you eat like your fiber and like your protein before your carbohydrates, even if it's the same, you'll have a less spike in blood sugar. Some people believe that, and I've seen people wear this glucose monitor and do it. Like, for example, I've seen people eat like, first they'll have like a baked potato, then they'll have a steak, then they eat the broccoli, and they get a pretty nice spike in blood sugar because they eat the baked potato first. Then they do that same meal, but they eat the broccoli, then they eat the steak, and then they eat the baked potato, and their blood sugar doesn't spike as much. Pretty interesting. You know, it's kind of cool, those 24-hour. I'm a little too neurotic for it, though. I know myself. I was going to get one, but I'll be testing it too much, and I drive myself crazy, so I don't think that's for me. Hey, Alexander. Oh, Alexander gave me a $6 super chat. So nice, Alexandra. I really appreciate it. Let's see what we got. I stopped my diet last month at 150 pounds. Since then, I'm concentrating on just eating 3 meals a day in a 12-hour eating window so I don't gain weight. That sounds great. I love it. If you're a little bit new to Alexandra, she was doing somewhat of a pretty extreme calorie restriction diet. I think she was doing something like, was it like 1,000 or 1,200 calories a day, but she was prioritizing protein and eating good, but pretty low calorie. Now she's at her goal weight, and she's going to be eating more maintenance calories, which is great, which I love it. Oh, thank you so much. Happy Father's Day. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to see my kids are home. I love it. They're back from college. They're staying with me for the summer. I absolutely love it. My daughter doing an internship. My son is interviewing for first job out of college. So I'm really excited to have them with me today. And I'll see my brother today. I'm sure I'll see my father later today too. And everyone on Instagram, I really appreciate you showing up. Also, I'm going to keep on saying this because I'm also going live on YouTube and Facebook. 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃 Fitness on Facebook, 𝘾𝙊𝘾 on YouTube. If you want to see the slides along with this presentation, I'm pulling in comments too. One day I'll be able to go live on Instagram with all this, but I don't have the technology for that yet. Look at this, Alexandra. I'm not very proud of myself for quitting my diet, but I would like to use the summer session to lose the last 25 pounds. Yeah, but Alexandra, you still lost a good amount of weight, and you did great. And actually, you know, we talked about this before. My true feeling was I thought you were going a little bit too extreme with the restricting the calories. So I'm kind of happy that you're taking a nice diet break now. Don't gain weight, hang out at 150 pounds, and then kick it in again. I think it's good for your metabolism. Another general rule of mine is every 6 weeks of being in a calorie restricted state, I think you should take a diet break for a week or two. Really 2 weeks, go to maintenance calories. And this, you know, you've heard me talk about this to death. My general weight loss formula is multiply your body weight by 10, right? So if you're 200 pounds, you eat 200 calories. I actually like to cycle calories then too. Then maybe pick your goal weight. Let's say you're 200 pounds, you want to weigh 150 pounds. Eat 2,000 calories one day, then eat 1,500 calories the next day. That's a nice calorie deficit, plus you're cycling calories, so you're boosting your metabolism a little bit more one day. It's easy to stick to the diet that way when you do it that way because you get to eat more one day, less the next day. Do that for 6 weeks. You're going to lose some weight. Then take a 2-week diet break. Multiply whatever you weigh. Let's say you weigh 200, now you only weigh 185. Multiply 185 by 15. Eat that many calories for 2 weeks. then go back into a calorie deficit. It minimizes metabolic adaptation. Metabolic adaptation means that when you lose weight, you're a smaller, you're a littler person, right? You don't need as many calories. It's a normal good thing. Your metabolism is going to slow down when you lose weight. But you don't want to over-exaggerate that metabolic adaptation for aggressively staying in a calorie deficit for too long. And there's a lot of research based on the Biggest Loser TV show, where people like did extreme calorie restriction and extreme exercise routines and like brutalized themselves. They over exaggerated the metabolic adaptation. They kind of like really messed up their metabolism. Even years later, some of the studies have shown that they had issues. So keep that in mind, you know, go in and out of a calorie deficit. So I'm really glad that Alexandra is taking a little bit of a break now too. And you're going to do it. You know, you're going to get down to your goal weight because I know you're motivated. Okay, so we got the morning routine down. Okay, let's go over the midday routine. And I appreciate everyone from Instagram showing up here too. Okay, and if you want to see the slides, go to YouTube or Facebook, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃 Fitness. Okay, so this is my general routine. I know I geared this a little bit more to myself because I do have the opportunity to work out in the middle of the day. But if you work out in the morning, do everything I'm talking about here. If you work out right after work or something, do everything I'm talking about. But just don't do it at 12:30. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, Dave, see, I think that Dave's from Texas. He's always here from Texas. Thanks, Coach. With the funny accent, we still count on your reviews. Oh, thanks. Deep in the heart of the Republic of Texas. 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 live long, God bless. Thanks, Dave. Happy Father's Day to you if you got kids, if you're a dad. I appreciate you showing up. You got such great sayings there. I know everyone makes fun of my New York accent. I know it's kind of strong. I was, born in the Bronx, raised in Yonkers, so I do have that New York accent a little bit. Oh, thanks for the super chat. Retired 2019. I really appreciate it. Happy Father's Day to you too. I think you're a guy. I think we talked about this before. Okay, this is Mike. I'm doing a lot of travel this summer to various stadiums. That's really nice. Major League Baseball stadiums. So you must be a big baseball fan. Awesome. Any suggestions for eating healthy while being on the road? It's interesting. I just went to Italy, and this is what I tried to do in Italy. This was kind of like the live stream I did last week. What I tried to do in Italy, because I wanted to enjoy the food and the wine, and Italy is like so incredible for that. I said, one day I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to eat, and I always retired. I always stick to 2 MAD though. I mean, I would definitely recommend you do that. Just eat 2 meals a day. That's for sure. Either skip breakfast. I would just skip breakfast, or you can skip lunch, eat breakfast and dinner. Maybe you get free breakfast sometimes at these places you're staying. So definitely do 2 MAD, 2 meals a day. That's a great way to keep calories under control. But what I try to do in Italy is that one day for those 2 meals, I just ate anything I want. I drank my red wine, had my pasta, my raviolis, ate the bread. I did things like that. And then the second day, I would do all MAD, meaning I would only eat 1 meal a day. Anything I wanted, but only 1 meal. Like I would eat a whole pizza and have half a liter of wine or something like that. And I did that for about a week, and then it all went through the roof. But if you're going to be doing this all summer, you could do that. I think you can just do 2 MAD and do really well retired 219. Skip 1 meal, no snacking though. Like don't eat between these 2 meals. If you ate 2 even 1,000-calorie meals, you got 2,000 calories, which is pretty reasonable. Interesting, you're going to see at the end of this live stream, I'm going to show you some specific meals. And what I started doing, I did it with one video this week, and it did well, where I picked an exact 800-calorie meal. Because everyone's asking me when I show my meals on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts, like how many calories, Mike, how many grams of protein? So in this one meal, I really broke it down. So you can do, I'm not sure where you are calories retired to 2019, but if you just ate even 2 800-calorie meals a day, that's only 1,600, and that's a decent amount of food. Prioritize protein, fiber, good nutrition. You can do it. I think when traveling, it's meal frequency is the key. You can't just be, like eating you can, at the baseball game, that could be a big meal for you, and then maybe one smaller meal afterwards. Do 2 MAD. I think that really works, when you're traveling. Let's see what we got. Okay, so let's go over this the midday routine. Okay, so I have the luxury of being able to work out around 12:30, and I generally break my fast around then, 12:30, with like a pre-workout protein shake. And let me show you what I got here. I took some pictures. Did I lose these pictures again? Let me see if I got them. I'm going to change slides so you can see it. I made some slides of actually like with the time frame. So this is what I'm talking about. So I'll pretty much break my fast, say around 12 p.m. most days. And this is my pre-workout shake. And I put a few other things in this pre-workout shake. You know, if you follow me, you know I'm a big believer in prioritizing protein. You know, my general formula is 0.7 grams per pound of lean body weight. So I take in about 150 grams of protein a day. I think you can even go more. I don't think there's any real downside to taking in more protein. And what the research is showing, the older you get, the more protein you need. I'm 60 years old. You know, I really want the protein. So I'll do a pre-workout protein shake most of the time, which consists of maybe 1 scoop of a whey protein isolate. That's one of my favorites. 120 calories, 25 grams of protein. I also want to increase nitric oxide, because nitric oxide is great for blood flow. If you look at most of these pre-workout drinks and powders and all that, they generally always have a nitric oxide enhancer. Nitric oxide is a naturally occurring molecule within the body, but goes down with age. It vasodilates, it opens up everything, gives you a great pump in the gym, can help you lower blood pressure, even can help you get better erections. I mean, it's really great increasing your nitric oxide. It gives me a great pump in the gym. So what I add to this is I'll do a scoop of beetroot powder. See, beets are naturally high in nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide within the body. So I'll do a scoop of beet powder, and then I also put in about 6 milligrams of 6 grams of L-citrulline, which is a non-essential amino acid. See, L-citrulline makes arginine, which in turn makes nitric oxide. So the combination of those two with a protein powder, I like as my pre-workout shake, and I do that around 12:30. And for example, then I'll have we're going to talk about this more in that slide. Then I'll have my first meal of the day, maybe 2 o'clock post workout, and then I'll have a nice dinner at 6, 7 o'clock, and then I'm done. You know, so I'm following a typical 16-day. But I'll talk about that more in these slides when we go down. But let's break down let's see, we got a couple more comments here. Okay, retired 219. Okay, I'm 200 pounds. And my goal is 180. Thanks for helping me. Love your channel. Oh, thanks, Retired. So that's easy, yes. So if you ate, you know, like 2 meals, like between 800 to 1,000 calories each, you'll be great, you know, traveling around, enjoying yourself this summer at the baseball games. And, you know, I'm assuming you may not do a baseball game every day. You can even make the baseball game an OMAD day. You kind of got gorge and eat whatever you want. You're not going to eat 2,000 calories, most likely, unless you eat like cheesecakes and like crazy things like that. But you're going to enjoy yourself and maybe make that an OMAD day. Have a protein bar or a protein shake as your second meal. I like those Quest protein bars and the no-cal protein bars. High in protein, high in fiber, relatively low in net carbs. And what I mean by net carbs, you take total carbs minus fiber. So like a Quest protein bar, which I like. I like the chocolate one. They're about 180 calories. They have 21 grams of protein, 23 grams of carbohydrates, but they have 16 grams of fiber. So you take those 23 grams of carbs minus 16 grams of fiber, you get 6 net grams of carbs. So you can do something like that, Retired 219. If you're going to a baseball game, say even a doubleheader, you're going to be eating a ton of food for a few hours, just have a protein bar for breakfast or something and just do that. You know, just minimize your meals. And once again, everyone on Instagram, I appreciate you showing up. This is great. If you want to see these slides, head over to YouTube, Mike Cola, or head over to Mike Cola Fitness on Facebook if you want to check out the slides that I'm showing here. Okay, that's great. Okay, so I'll have my pre-workout shake, and I recommend most people do that. I like taking in a little bit of protein pre-workout, especially when you're doing resistance training. And I also like to drink it an intra-workout shake, meaning that I like to have a little protein and I have a small amount of carb from the beetroot powder while I'm working out. So I'll drink half of it maybe around 12. I'll drink the other half maybe when I start my workout at 12:30. Okay, I think that's a good idea for definitely resistance training. When it comes to like those walks in the morning, I'm doing them fasted, you know, which I love too. Easy aerobics, I generally do fasted. Okay, and the type of workouts that I like for most people, especially if you're like 40 and over, you know, there's like 3 general ways in which you build muscle when it comes to resistance training. There's muscle tension. That's just like progressive resistance, like you're lifting weights, creating tension, creating an effect to become bigger and stronger, right? The other one is muscle damage. You make those little tears in the muscle, you break the muscle down, it gets bigger and stronger. But the third way, which is my favorite way to train now that I'm older, for sure, is metabolic stress. Metabolic stress is like that pump, when you pump yourself up. So, and you keep that continuous tension on the muscle. And that's most of the type of training that I do. I use moderate to light weights most of the time. I keep the reps on the high side, 15, 20 reps. I use a relatively moderate to slow rep cadence, and I pump the muscle up, meaning I keep continuous tension on the muscle. at all times. And I also do a lot of blood flow restriction training where I use those tourniquets. I did a couple of videos on Instagram and TikTok this week talking about blood flow restriction training. I love it. Blood flow restriction training just means that you kind of like you put like a tourniquet. I use the 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝘾𝙄𝙉𝙂 system. I put these bands on my arms and my legs, and I can take like a very light dumbbell and pump the muscle up. What happens is blood goes into the muscle, it pools, and metabolites build up like hydrogen, lactate, and like the venous blood return is minimized. So you get an incredible pump with light weights. And that's the type of training I like. I used to do the long workouts. Now I try to keep my workouts 60 minutes or less. I like this plan. If you can somehow find time to work out midday, I think it's a great thing to do. You know, if you got a lunch hour, or if you're tired and not working, if you can work out midday, you walk in the morning, do all the circadian rhythm stuff I'm talking about, right? Fasted, and then have a protein shake or protein bar, work out midday. I think it's a great thing. Plus your body's a little bit looser, you're up, you're awake, your joints are a little bit more mobile. I love it. And I stick to basic movements. I don't do those crazy movements that you see a lot of people do on Instagram and TikTok. I still push, pull, plank, squat, lunge, pull, push, bench, row, pull up, pull, dips. I do the basic stuff, plank. That's the type of working. If you want to see some of my workout videos, when I first started the YouTube channel, unfortunately, they didn't do too well. I like the videos, though. I did a whole bunch of workout videos. I covered every body part. Now on a YouTube, it seems like with the algorithm, I'm known more for intermittent fasting, time restricted eating, weight loss. But I got a ton of videos. I even did maybe 100 short videos of all different exercises. If you're interested in more content like that, let me know. I can start doing videos like that again if you like. So let me know. And then another big rule I have found over the years, and I made this mistake. I must have trained in pain all through my 20s and 30s and overtrained. I just ignored pain. I always believed in like no pain, no gain type thing. I'm completely did an about face on that now. Don't train in pain. If your joints, if something hurts, there's always something else you can do. If you follow me, I have a bad knee from an operation I had 15 years ago, and I'm still able to maintain like a really high fitness level working around my knee. But some days I wake up, my knee hurts. I woke up today, my back was hurting me for some bizarre reason, like who knows why. So I wouldn't like squat today. I would do something else. I'm going to walk after that. I already did a 30-minute walk already this morning. I'm going to sneak another walk in later today. Then I'm meeting everybody for Father's Day. But don't train in pain. Another key thing, mobility movement. The older I get, the more important I feel this is. And I don't necessarily mean like static stretching. I mean like mobility movement, like lubricating your joints with movement. Every time I do a resistance training workout, I end the workout with mobility movement. I have some good videos too on my YouTube channel, like going through some mobility movement drills. But there's so many great people out there doing it. You can go on YouTube, put in mobility movement, TikTok, Instagram. There's people out there even much better than me, and these different flow routines that I do. But I do, whenever I train up a body, I end for 5 minutes to 10 minutes of mobility movement. 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝘾𝙃, if you want to follow him, he's like probably the best mover there is, the movement culture. You can follow him. And I do a lot of rehab because I am pretty banged up being 60 years old. And I surfed my whole life, most of my life, rode motocross as a kid, skateboard. I was one of those guys, So I had tons of injuries. So I do a lot of shoulder rehab. I have a torn labrum in my shoulder, bone spur, bad knee, herniated disc in neck and back. So I go through all these like rehab, mobility, movement things. I think they're so important to do. And micro progression is the key. It's something I've had the hardest thing to really sink in. I find most people have the hardest time with progression. What I mean by progression is making slow, like micro improvements over the course of weeks, months, if not years. Like going really, really slow. Even if you're feeling good, don't jump ahead. Just go really, really slow, micro progress. Good for the brain. There's also like rated exercise exposure. I've read a number of different books. One of my favorite books I recently just read is The Way Out. So just talking about chronic pain or people who get injured and they just never seem to get out of it. Like if you get injured and you're feeling pain in a particular body part, say for 6 months or longer, it becomes like chronic. You get neuroplastic changes within your brain, meaning that even though the tissue damage may have healed, you're still feeling the pain due to different perceptions of it within your brain. It gets very complicated, but you can't be afraid of pain. What you have to do is just convince yourself and your central nervous system and your body that you're actually not as injured as you might think, and just make these micro progressive improvements. That's that whole knees over toes program. That's what I think it does. Knees over toes it kind of revolutionized, I think, the knee rehab industry, in my opinion. It's really helped my knee too. I walk backwards every day now. I do all the ATG program. I think it's great. Look it up, Google it. 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. I was gonna do a live stream on that. I think I will do a live stream on the 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉 because I like it so much. This is Gwen. I think YouTube considered my comment. Oh, really? I censored your comment. That's interesting. I didn't realize what you said. I'll go back and check that out, Gwen. I didn't realize that. Let's see, Alexandra. I'm not going to do the very low calorie diet again. It's too hard for me. I agree, definitely. But I did like the simplicity of the diet. It's so easy to choose your meals and to calculate the progress you make. Yeah, no, I understand, Alexandra. But you can easily go 10 times your body weight. Go 1,500 calories. I think you'll do just as good. And I don't think it'll be that much harder for you to do it. You do two, you can do like 2 meals, 600 calories each, 700 calories each, and then do maybe a protein shake or one of those protein bars, and you can be good to go. I mean, I think you'll do great with that. And I'm also I was thinking about doing a book on like, I was going to name the book something like the 2,000 calorie a day diet and cookbook. And I want to start, when I start doing my food videos, I want to start listing how many calories, how many grams of protein, fats, and carbs, just to help people out. Maybe I can do like a whole meal plan of 2,000 calorie meals, 2,000 calorie a day meals, and then maybe another one of like 1,500 calories a day, just to help people out. Like the 2,000 one would be for like guys, and the 1,500 calories a day would be for gals. I was thinking about doing something like that. If you're interested in that, let me know too. I'm always trying to figure out the content that people want. Okay, so let's go over the diet plan. Like a nice healthy diet plan to give you more energy, just to improve the quality of your life and live a healthy lifestyle. This is my favorite diet plan. I talk about it all the time. It's a 16-8, like I talked about earlier. You fast for 16 hours, taking all your calories within an 8-hour eating window. You only eat 2 meals within the 800 calorie window, and to make sure you're eating enough protein, you add a protein bar, protein shake. So just like that slide I showed, just like the slide I showed here, it'd be something like this: protein bar or protein shake, high protein, high fiber, super nutritious meal. I'm going to break these meals down for you a little bit at the end too. And this is like another perfect meal, prioritizing protein. This is like a cauliflower mix and like half a sweet potato. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, the calories here, this is probably less than 2,000 calories for the day, maybe right around maybe 800, 816, 17, 18. This is probably 800 calorie day right there. So this would be something great for retired 2019. This would be too many calories for you, Alexandra, if you're doing like 15, 14. I don't want you to like cut back on all this stuff, but still the same concept. Still the same concept of eating. So let's go back. And then, so let's break down the diet plan a little bit. Obviously, I want you to prioritize protein. I may do, next time when I do this live stream, I have different ways of doing these slides. Like I can make my face really small and blow up these slides. I may try that next time. We'll see how it goes. Let me show you. I can probably do it now. Let's see if this will be better. I'm going to start a new screen. I'll show you how it works. I'll start a new screen. Then we'll put in a blank. Let me see if I can pull in. Let's see if I can pull this in so you can see it better. Edit, copy. Let's see. I don't want to lose everyone here. Edit. I'll paste it. See, I can make this much, much bigger. And then I can put myself. I think this is how I do it. I think I can put myself like right there. And let me change. I have different cams. There's a bad cam. I could start doing these slides like this if you guys prefer it. Just let me know, like in the comments, like what you guys like better. I like doing it like this though too. Okay, so prioritize protein, fiber while keeping an eye on calories. My calorie formula: 10 times your body weight if you want to lose calories. You can even go 11, 15 times your body weight for maintenance calories, right? Eat relatively low carb. I do like the low carb diet, for a few different reasons. First of all, most of your empty calories and garbage calories are carbohydrates mixed with like those processed oils, right? And like the cookies, the cakes, the garbage, like the junk food. So I'm not into the junk food. But I do think you can probably go more than 100 grams of carbs depending upon what you're starting from. But I do like the low carb diet just to control blood sugar and to prevent, filling up your muscles with too much glycogen. And I've talked about this before too. When you eat a meal, let's say you're eating a meal. Let's say you're eating, let's say even a hamburger with a bun, right? You're also having some French fries and maybe some condiments. Your typical, somewhat unhealthy meal. Whatever calories you're not burning down gets stored away in your muscles, your liver, and body fat, right? The carbohydrates get stored in your muscle and your liver. The problem is your muscles can only hold so many grams of carbohydrates. Let's say you can hold or so many calories to. Let's say it can hold 1,500, 2,000 calories of carbohydrates in the form of glycogen. Your liver can't hold that much, maybe 50 grams, a couple hundred calories of carbohydrates. You know, fat goes into fat cells, which can be somewhat unlimited, right? You can keep on getting, unfortunately, because fat cells can keep on getting bigger and bigger. All the problems start is when your muscles and liver are full with glycogen. Say you're at your 2,000 calorie max in your muscle and your liver, then what happens? Any excess carbs you eat can convert it into body fat, it raises your triglycerides. That's when all the problems start. That's when your body has a hard time controlling blood sugar. I do like a relatively low carb diet. You can eliminate so many of your empty calories too. So if you can eat an adequate amount of protein, 0.7 times your body weight, while also at the same time not eating too many calories, eating a high fiber diet, you're going to do great. And I like the 16-8-2-MET plus a protein bar protein shake as my favorite formula for most people. Even if you don't want to count calories, you can do really well with that 16-8-2-MET. I just love it. After experimenting with everything, it's probably my favorite. And I do have an intermittent fasting full week weight loss course if you want to check it out. It's not this 16-8-2-MET. It's a much easier progression. It's really for a beginner. If you're totally new to intermittent fasting and low carb eating, I think you'll like my course. I sell it for like $97. There should be a link below this, but it really is for a beginner. It first explains intermittent fasting, low carb eating, and then it takes you through this like gradual 4-week progression. I think it's a good course. Okay, and then let's see. Right, like then I do my workout midday. Okay, my first meal, since I want to eat about 150 grams of protein for the day, I do 65 grams of protein one meal, 65 grams of protein the second meal. That gives me at about 130. Then I do my protein shake for 20-25. I'm way over 150 for the day. And the general rule is every 4 ounces of chicken, fish, or meat is 25 grams of protein. So if you have 8 ounces of chicken, fish, or meat, you're getting 50 grams. If you have 10 ounces, you're at 65. So that's generally what I do. And, I know people ask me, I do eat a lot of Greek yogurt too. Like, for example, if I'm having just a little bit of shrimp, say I'm having 8 ounces of shrimp for lunch, which is 50 grams. If I want 15 more grams, I'll add a Greek yogurt, something like that. If I'm just having eggs for breakfast, like for lunch or something, say 4 eggs, that's only about 25 grams of protein. I may add a Greek yogurt there, or I may, I try to get that. I prioritize protein. I know people will debate it with me. I think it's so important. It gets a little tough if you're a vegetarian, especially if you're a vegan. That's when it gets a little bit more challenging, because you have to take in so many more calories to get, in my opinion, an adequate amount of protein. And I'm a big believer in that protein leverage hypothesis. Like, researchers came up with this thing that you're going to be hungry, you're going to keep on eating until you reach your protein requirement for the day. That's why I am a big believer in animal protein, for sure. Let's see what Gwen's got to say. Okay. I just said from your mentioning the word E-word, you said earlier, I didn't feel bad. Most of my exercise comes from, that's funny. That's what got censored. I got you, Gwen. That's funny. Let's see. Okay, this is Jeff, probably trying to protect Mike from, right? Yeah, I know, I'm sure they are. It's interesting because I used to go live on Amazon a lot, like just, trying to sell different things. And I used to get censored all the time just talking about health things. Like, you can't say blood pressure and things like that. It's kind of interesting. I guess what Alexander had to say. I will continue my 3 meals a day in the 12-hour eating window. I think that's great. For my breakfast, I'm thinking a protein shake and 2 hard-boiled eggs. Like it. I tried it and it's easy. I like it. I think that's great. I think it's good. Sounds good. All right. And that's the schedule pretty much. First meal, post-workout around 2. And then 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Last meal for the day, then no calories later in the day. And also, if I didn't talk about this too, I know people like to drink wine at night or maybe have a cocktail or something. If you're going to drink, try to do it earlier in the day. Meaning that, like, not in the middle of the day. I mean, try to have it as like a pre-meal cocktail. Like, don't drink alcohol late at night. It's going to affect your sleep. You want to process that drink before you go to sleep, because it's going to keep you up at night. And a big part of improving your health and having these rituals of routines, we're going to talk about the nighttime routine, is you don't want to take in alcohol late at night. And some people think that alcohol doesn't count as breaking your fast after meal, but it does. All right, guys. And also, guys, everyone on Instagram, if you want to check out these slides, hit me up on YouTube or Facebook. I'm going live there, and you can check out these slides. Okay, so this is the late day, evening, late afternoon, evening routine. This is generally what I do and what I recommend for people to do. most of the time, I do take a second walk almost every single day. I mean, I'd say 90% of the time I do that. Like the perfect day for me would be a day where I'm outside and I can see the sunrise. And I like to walk along the Hudson River in New York. There's a town called 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 that I go to. If I can watch the sunrise and sunset, it's like mind-blowing. I can do that more wintertime. The summertime, since it stays light so late, I generally will take that second walk more late afternoon. So I take a walk outside. If I don't have time to take a second walk outside, I'll do the treadmill walk. And like I said earlier, I'd rather people do multiple bouts of exercise as opposed to just doing one, designating one time to exercise in a day. Like, I would much rather you doing 3 20-minute walks than do one 60-minute walk for sure. Or I'd love you to do like a 20-minute walk, then in the afternoon do like your push-ups, your lunges, your squats, you get the bands, you do your rows, you do some planks, and in the evening, early evening, you take another 20-30-minute walk. I'd much rather you do that than just go to the gym for 45 minutes or an hour like once a day or just work out. If you can, because you want this workout act lifestyle to be always part of your lifestyle. And if you can do it after you eat, even better, because it's going to help control blood sugar. So I like multiple bouts of exercise during the day, even if it equates to the same amount of time. I think it's healthy. I think it's better, for sure. And it's less intimidating too, I think, because some people say, I don't have to eat. By the time you go to the gym and you come back, you got just 20 minutes, just go out for a walk. Come back, do a little mobility movement, right? You know, do things like that. Okay, so I like to always take that second walk, generally, you know, in the summertime, maybe 5, 6 o'clock, something like that. And this is a big one here, though. This is so critical. No food. You can even get away with 2 hours. I personally go 3. No food 3 hours before bed. That's key. Because you don't want that food sitting in your stomach. It's going to affect your sleep. There's so much research. I did a whole live stream and I did some videos pulling in studies showing how it's so bad for your blood sugar. Eating late at night is probably one of the worst things you can do, even if it's good, healthy food. You want to digest the food. You want to process the food. You want to definitely go to sleep on somewhat of an empty stomach. So if you can do a minimum of 2, if not 3 hours, I think it would be a great thing to do. Okay, here's some other nighttime routines that I do that I think that I recommend that people do. I struggle with this a little bit, but it's not looking at your phone or your computer after 8 p.m. You know, you don't want that LED light. You don't want that blue light, which is going to keep you up at night. Plus, you want your mind and everything to settle down. I know this is common sense stuff, but it's so easy, especially me, since I'm, you know, I put out so much content and I'm always looking, you know, let me answer this person's comment. You know, I'm always like, so, but 8 o'clock now, I'm really going to try no more phone, no more computer. I also like to dim the lights in my house after 8 o'clock. Even if the TV's on, I still like to dim the lights. Those LED lights, those blue lights, that's what keeps you up. That's what disturbs your sleep. I started doing this, you know, my wife does this, my son does this. They're such a big readers, both of them. My daughter's going to journalism school. I mean, she's an incredible writer, great reader. I'm always reading for information, you know, to learn more about health and fitness and things like that. I'm reading like a lot of informative type books. I don't read too many like fun books, but I just started doing this, like 20 minutes of reading before I go to sleep at night. I really like it. I get in my bed, you know, I use my like just a small light, and I'm actually holding a book. It's not like a Kindle or things like that. So I really like it. It kind of winds me down. You know, I really do try to get 8 hours of sleep. You know, minimum 7. You know, I don't know if you followed me, but I did a Instagram video this week talking about how one night I only slept 2 hours this week, because I still haven't adjusted from the time differences from being in Italy for a couple of weeks. I only slept 2 hours. And when you only sleep 2 hours, when you're truly sleep deprived like that, you become insulin resistant, which is really incredible, even though I'm very insulin sensitive. And insulin resistant just means, you know, insulin is the storage hormone. You know, the pancreas reduces insulin. It kind of like opens the door so you can store away those excess calories, fats, you know, carbohydrates in your muscles and your liver. Also, it's good for protein synthesis. Insulin's a big deal. Helps you put on muscle having insulin when you spike it, like you eat a protein type meal. But when you're sleep deprived, you become insulin resistant. That's when all the problems start. Like people who become type 2 diabetic have all these problems. They're insulin resistant. They're leptin resistant too, meaning that leptin is a hormone that's released from fat cells telling your brain that stop eating. Some people become leptin resistant along with insulin resistant. So, for example, a night where I only slept 2 hours, I wake up the next day, I'm insulin resistant. And this is kind of what happens, what I find. And people who are just sleep deprived in general, they're low energy, right? Then they think they have to eat. They're hungry. I was hungry that day. I'm typically not hungry. I was like starving all day too. And then people just overeat to try to get energy, try to wake themselves up. It's the worst thing you can do when you're insulin resistant. Because now when I'm insulin resistant, I won't be able to control blood sugar as well. So if I eat a big meal, spike my blood sugar, my body's not going to be able to handle that well. So the worst thing you can do is to eat, especially eating high glycemic type carbohydrates when you're insulin resistant. So what I did that day is I walked 3 times that day, did 3 45-minute walks. I fasted for 20 hours and I had like just a 4-hour eating window, and I kind of like reset myself. It was really great. But I do prioritize. You got to prioritize sleep. I mean, there's going to be great books written about it. Sean Stevenson has a great book on it. He's the Model Health Show. He's got a great podcast too. I really like his podcast. It's so important to get a good night's sleep. Do whatever you can. I take melatonin from time to time. I respond really well to melatonin. You know, some people take 3 to 10 grams. I find 1.25 grams is generally what I take. Sometimes I take 1 gram. My son is into melatonin. He takes half a gram, 0.5, and he really it really works for him. I find though that melatonin helps you fall asleep, but if you wake up in the middle of the night, there may not be too much benefit to it. But I do like melatonin. I think it's something you may want to try. I think it's great if you think you're not going to sleep well. Like if you think in your head you're not going to fall asleep, take a gram or 2 of melatonin. I think it'll help you sleep for sure. And another big thing, which has been a tremendous difference for me, is blacking out the bedroom. I didn't realize how important this was until when you travel, you stay at a hotel. Hotels are great at blacking out rooms. And I didn't realize, I used to say, why do I sleep so well when I go to a hotel? I'm not even that comfortable. I like my bed at home better. The main reason is the rooms were blacked out. I slept pretty good when I was in Italy for 2 weeks because every place I stayed, we B&B'd in one place where it wasn't blacked out. I didn't sleep. Every other place we stayed, it was blacked out. I slept incredibly well, which is really good. And the other key thing is to keep the room cool. It's even good to keep your home cool, your house, your apartment. It helps you get like thermogenesis in a way. It helps you burn body fat to live in a more colder environment, which is kind of cool too. Here, this is Jeff. I go to sleep listening to music on the computer, but I do turn the screen all the way off. That sounds good. I like that. Yeah, a little relaxing music I think is great as long as you're not getting the LED lights from the whatever machine you're using, or whatever, if you're using your computer or whatever to listen to music. I like that too. So this is generally a nighttime routine that I recommend for most people. Another thing too, you know, older guys like me, you know, your prostate gets a little large. I wouldn't drink a ton of water right before bed. I try to hydrate myself like during dinner, after dinner, and then maybe 2-3 hours before bed when I'm not taking any food. I try not to drink any liquids because I can pretty much sleep through the night without waking up to go to the bathroom. But if I drink a big glass of water before I go to sleep, I gotta wake up in the middle of the night. That didn't start for me until I got into my 50s. You know, because your prostate gets a little bit bigger when you get older, unfortunately, right? Okay, let's go over some these are areas that I find other people have issues with, and I do. And this is your general. You know, when I made these slides and when I made this presentation about increasing your energy and just increasing your having a happier, healthier lifestyle, I just want to address some general things that I think I need to do more of, that I think other people should too. And this is a big thing. I find more with men maybe than women. I'm like, my wife is so good at keeping in touch with her girlfriends and even her family. Like, she's always doing something. She's calling people up. She's in communication. I think men are generally, me myself, I don't really keep in touch with my friends anywhere near enough. What I love about doing these podcasts is sometimes and I did it today, I text some of my favorite people, you know, some of my old buddies, my college roommate who's like, I love him. Another friend of mine who's incredible, just stopped by my gym a few weeks ago, and some other guys that I said, oh, you know, I'm going live. Or sometimes on holidays, I always wish a whole bunch of people happy Father's Day, Happy New Year, Happy 4th of July. I do things like that. It's good. I want to do a lot more of it. It's so important to keep in touch with friends. I mean, that's the interesting thing, especially being in Italy. You know, the life expectancy in Italy is 18 months longer than in the U.S. And when you think about it, a lot of people smoke in Italy. They definitely drink a good amount of wine. They're eating somewhat of a Mediterranean diet, but they're still eating a lot of, bread and pasta, which I would consider somewhat like empty type calories, yet they have an 18-month longer life expectancy. And I think the main reason was two things, in my opinion. One is they walk everywhere. They walk like crazy. Every time they eat, they walk. They're always walking, especially if you're in Rome, you're in the city. But even in other areas, they seem to walk a lot. And I think their social life is much better than people in the United States. You know, you always see groups of guys, you know, chatting up in the morning, in the middle of the day. You know, I think their social life's better. So I'm looking to take my life and definitely more in that direction. Keeping in touch with people, calling somebody every day, an old friend, family. I try to keep in touch with my immediate family pretty good. I talk to my parents, my dad all the time, and my brother too, which is great. And I'll see them all today, you know, Father's Day, which I love. And other things when it comes to me, maybe I have a little hard time. I don't know if it's ADD or all the different things that everybody's got, but I really feel like the older I get, the more I truly need like a calendar, like a work calendar. Like I like to plan out my day, my week, my month. I really need to do that more. And it's good for those little dopamine hits. I think I didn't emphasize that on one of the slides, but I think it was in my morning routine. I should have talked about that more. I definitely like to write out like what I'm going to do for the day, but I like to write out little small things. As small as like there was that one video I talked about, I think I talked about in the past, that Admiral talks about why he wants his men to make their bed in the morning. And it's not necessarily because they want to clean barracks. He said, I want task completion, meaning that I want someone to wake up and instantly do something that's positive and complete a task. And making your bed is like task completion, you know, which is a really good thing to do. And I also, back to Andrew Huberman, I also listened to a podcast of Andy Huberman talking about how to feel good, how to happy, how to increase dopamine, you know, that did like the pleasure, those pleasure type hormones. He said you have to complete a whole bunch of small tasks and create momentum within your day. So I'll do, like, even though I know I'm going to take my 45-minute walk, when I wake up in the morning, I may make a list and I may say, okay, make my bed, you know, take my 45-minute walk. I like to like write down all these little things and you feel good when you do them. And then it's interesting because I do it in notes on my phone, and then at the end of the day I crossed out all these things that, oh my god, I got all this done today, this is great, and you kind of feel good, right? I also like to set more short and long-term goals. These are things that I'm working on because, as you know, I'm trying to get most of my business, instead of having that brick and mortar gym which I've owned for like 35 years, I'm trying to transition my business a little bit more online. I'm going to start doing group coaching online and do all things like that. So I really trying to plan like my month, my 6 months goal, my 1 year goal, things like that. I think it really does help to have goals and to work towards these goals. Another thing I have to do, sometimes I find that and I find so many other people who are busy, who are working, running their own businesses and things, is that you just grind. You know, I'm a grinder. Like literally, I remember I became an Amazon influencer maybe, I don't know, a year and a half ago. As soon as I got in, Amazon influence just means that you make videos like recommending products on Amazon that you believe in, that you like. I cranked out 300 videos in like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, not to maybe a month. I just grind it out, you know, and I want to do less grinding. I remember during the pandemic, like I was going crazy. I didn't know what to do with myself. I had to close my gym for 8 months. I filmed like 50 videos, and I made my low carb intermittent fasting course. I put that course out there because I couldn't run the gym, and I feel like I just grind too much, you know. Like instead of grinding, I'd like to take my time to think a little bit more and let the creativity come, even for making my videos and even these live streams. Like I did the slides for these live streams this morning. You know, I really should have, took a little bit more time with the, and just did it during the week. Maybe did a slide or two every night for like 15, 20 minutes. So I'm going to try to grind less, think a little bit more, try to be a little bit more creative. And what do I have on this list? Let me see. What do I have on this last one? Work on it. Yeah, and just this, this sounds like kind of corny, but just work on being happy a little bit more. You know, nothing in life is free. It's not like you're just gonna be happy just because you're alive and you're breathing. You got to do things that you like to do. You know, you gotta make a real effort. You know, they stay in touch with friends, to do fun things that you like. You know, like I love walking, so I do that. I like working out, I work out. But I would like to spend more time with friends and family and do some. I used to golf every Thursday. I don't do that anymore. I did that for years. I stopped maybe 15 years ago. I had this like 3 foursome. We loved it. I'm going to try moving forward. Even though I got to make a living and, all that type of stuff, and I got, a lot of expenses and all that, I'm still going to try to like do more of the things that I like to do. So that's my little spiel on my like a healthy lifestyle morning, midday, and evening routine. Let me see, I think we got a couple of other questions. Okay, I just grabbed a can of sardines with a bag of arugula. You remind me to have more protein. Sounds good, yes. No, I know. I'm going to show you the slides. Everyone who really follows me, the regulars, know that I eat like arugula almost every single day. arugula is my favorite microgreen for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's high in nitrates. Like 100 grams of arugula has about 400 milligrams of nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide. It's almost like a free food, just like so low in calories. Also low in oxalates. I know some people get on my case, Mike, because I used to drink a lot of celery juice. Mike, it's loaded with oxalates. Oxalates that can, there's been some indication that could help lead to kidney stones if you're predisposed to it. So, where, for example, spinach is really high in oxalates, whereas arugula isn't. And I eat sardines almost every single day. You know, I just heard, I forget who said this. Was it? I forget it. One of my podcasts I was listening to, they were talking about like the best sources of creatine, and everyone's obviously red meat, fish, but sardines, like ounce per ounce, is probably the highest source of creatine, even more than red meat, even more than salmon, which is interesting. So I'm getting the creatine from the sardines too, which is great. On the grind, yeah, I know, Gwen. I know how you feel. That's me. I'm just a grinder. I always felt like, you know, what I always lacked in ability. I just made up by just grinding it out. You know what I mean? Now I like to work on more my creativity and my more ability and think a little bit more instead of just do. Like whenever I couldn't figure something, let me just do it, you know, and then we'll see how it goes, you know, as opposed to just taking the time to really think and plan it out. I want to do a little more thinking and planning going forward. Especially, it's very challenging, you know, trying to have a successful business online. I found the brick and mortar so much easier to have a successful personal training gym than to have more of a successful online business. It seems like it's so much more complicated. Let's see what Alexandra's got to say. Okay, I think of training for 30 minutes, 5 times a week, but I can't decide if I should separate my cardio and resistance training on alternate days, 15-15. You know, I think both things could work, Alexandra. Generally, whatever you do first, you're gonna have more energy for and do better. I like both. I like prioritizing, but I mean, you can vary it. Like one day you can do your resistance training first, then do your cardio second, and that could be your easier cardio day. The next time you do it, if you want to do them on the same day, do your cardio first, maybe do like a harder hit routine, then do your resistance training. I mean, I like that too. And that's how I personally do it. I mix it up like that as well if you want to do them both on the same days. Even when it comes to body parts. You always want to go from biggest to smallest when it comes to resistance training. But when it comes to your chest to back, I like to train my whole upper body at once. Some days I'll do chest first, some days I'll do back first if I want to prioritize that. If I really want to prioritize like my arms, even though it doesn't make sense, I might do my arms first. You know, and then even though I'm training my chest and back, they're a weak link, but you really get an incredibly good arm workout. So there's no really wrong way of doing it. It just depends on your goals, and I would just mix it up. But stick to the basic movements. I know you do. Stick to the basic exercises, though, if you can. Let's see what Gwen's got to say. While I go to salat. Oh, and arugula. No, I'm not sure what cilantro. Oh, so you know, I'm not sure about cilantro when it comes to nitric oxide and oxalates. I'll look that up. I know spinach is like crazy high in oxalates. I really don't eat spinach anymore. It always bothered my stomach. Always upset me, spinach, and I never really could figure out until I read this book recently, maybe a month ago, called Toxic Superfoods. I forget the girl's name. Maybe Sally Norton. Is that the author? I'm not sure. She's a smart gal. Another PhD, all that. And she talks about all foods that like diets that are high in oxalate, all the downside of doing that. So I did make some changes based on that book. The biggest change was like not eating spinach. Let me say some other things. Like actually even beetroot juice. Like I don't really drink too much beetroot juice, but the powder is lower on the oxalates because a lot of the oxalates are removed on a beetroot powder. I think I cut back on almonds. Almonds are pretty high. If you want to check out her book, it's called Toxic Superfoods. I think it was a good book. Definitely worth reading. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, I would definitely read it because you might be getting a tremendous amount of oxalates, you know, within your diet. I know Paul Saladino, but he's the carnivore guy. He's a big believer in minimizing oxalates. Okay, I love spinach. I get that too. Yeah, you know, see if you can switch over. You may not have any issues with it at all, Gwen. But I think arugula is probably the best when it comes to like those microgreens by far. You know, I think it's loaded with nitrates. I love that bitter taste. I mean, I eat about 100 grams just about every single day. You know, I just love it. And once again, everyone on Instagram, I'm sorry if you're not seeing the slides. I'm also going live on YouTube and Facebook where I have the slide presentation. One day I'll be able to have the technology and software to do this whole thing live at once. I have the capabilities of it, but they haven't accepted me on Instagram for some reason yet. I'm just waiting for that. So let's go over some. I always like to end with this. Let's go over some specific like meal ideas. This is kind of how I ate this week since I've been back from Italy. And you know my normal routine. Once again, here's my arugula. That's about 100 grams of arugula. Almost a free food, like I say. So low, and maybe 25 calories. Then I have, I'm not sure if this is Arctic char or salmon, but this is 10 ounces right here. This is, I think, what I had for 2 o'clock, like a lunch meal. 65 grams of protein. I also eat an avocado every single day. In my opinion, avocados are totally superfoods. Loaded with potassium, loaded with fiber. Typical avocado, say a medium-sized avocado, maybe 300 calories, depending upon how big the avocado is. 15, 16, 17 grams of fiber. 900 milligrams of potassium. It's just a superfood. The blood oranges have been in season in me. They're on sale at my favorite like local grocery store, so I've been eating them almost every single day. 1 orange. Funny, people get on my case and say, "Oh, Mike, you're a low carb. What are you doing taking all that sugar? Don't eat fructose." First of all, I do watch fructose. See, fructose is a different type of a sugar. Fructose probably is the most unhealthy sugar you can eat, but more like high fructose corn syrup, because fructose goes right to the liver to be processed. Doesn't even spike insulin, and you can overwhelm the liver, whatever, with fatty liver, whatever, with all the bad things, high triglycerides, if you're pounding fructose, not from one fruit, not from an orange. If you're eating high fructose corn syrup, if you're drinking sodas, you're eating processed foods, you're eating cereals where they're adding this high fructose corn syrup, that's what you got to watch out for. In my opinion, you can have 1 or 2 fruits a day, no problem whatsoever. And I do like relatively low sugar foods. Like I love the berries and things like that. Let me give you another example of another meal that I've been eating this week. Let me show you. This is, right, okay, well, I really like this meal. I did a video on that. I think I did an Instagram video or short video on this yesterday. This is a great meal. This is like, I see how I doubled up on protein. This is an arugula salad. And I have maybe 7-8 ounces of salmon, which will give me my 50 grams of protein. I wanted more protein, so I added a can of sardines. Now that even though I've been eating sardines, I like it even more now knowing that they're so high in creatine. Plus, when you eat the sardines, you get the skin, you get the bones, you get the connective tissue, you get the calcium from the bones, which is really great. Once again, blood orange, avocado. And I do eat the same foods over and over again. Some people get on my case saying, "Mike, you keep on posting these videos. Everything's very similar." I generally post my lunches because it's easy for me to film the lunch because it's daylight, whatever. I'll start filming some more dinners. When it comes to dinner, I kind of mix it up a little bit more. But for my lunches, I eat pretty much the same things. I eat, salmon, sardines, maybe like lean steak, maybe chicken thighs, eggs. I always have like an arugula salad, always have an avocado, always have 1 fruit, whether it's blueberries, strawberries, or whatever fruits in season. Like this particular, people sometimes ask me, "Mike, what type of salad dressing?" If I'm using a can of sardines, my favorite brand is called 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝘾𝙃. The sardines are packed in extra virgin olive oil, so I don't have to really add salad dressing. I may put a little bit of balsamic vinegar on something like this, and plus the avocado is so creamy, you don't need the salad dressing. I read a study one time talking about like women's, like gals' diets. And this study said, most of the calories came from salad dressing, because women eat so many salads, they're concerned about their weight. Meanwhile, they're pounding so much of like that, sugary, not even good quality salad dressing. If I ever put anything on, it'll be extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar. And balsamic vinegar, similar to apple cider vinegar, is high in acidic acid, but also helps control blood sugar, which is really cool. Let's go over a couple of other. Yeah, let's go over this 800 calorie meal. So let me break this down for you. And I did a short video, like a 60-second video, really breaking this down. This meal came. Do you know what the amazing thing is now? You know how it's so easy for me to do this. I use ChatGPT now. I use it constantly. If you never used it, that's that AI, that open AI. Definitely check out ChatGPT. What I do now is I just talk into ChatGPT and I'll say, I want an 800 calorie meal that has 65 grams of protein, that is less than 30 grams of carbohydrates, and that's that has at least 15 grams of fiber. Here are the ingredients: salmon, steak, avocado, blueberries, arugula. Will you map it out for me? And within 3 seconds, it comes back 6 ounces of salmon, like 3 ounces of steak, half a cup of blueberries, 100 grams of arugula, a medium-sized avocado, 800, and it breaks all down. It's just like incredible. That's why I'm thinking about putting this book together, like the 2,000 calorie a day diet. and I break down all meals, I can probably put it together in like in a month, you know, a book like that. But this so that's what this meal is. This is 800 calories, 65 grams of protein with the combination of the salmon and sliced steak. And the sliced steak was like leftover from the night before, so really easy to make. The salmon, I like making salmon on top of the stove a lot. I made that on top of the stove in like 10 minutes. I have videos on that. So simple. I just douse it in extra virgin olive oil, season it up, salt, pepper. I think that's a little bit of like a oregano, Provence type spices. And I just put the top on it. 15 minutes, 12 minutes is done. Scoop it right out, throw it on the plate. I mean, everything I make in less than 10, 15 minutes. And everyone on Instagram, sorry guys and gals, if you want to see these slides, head over to YouTube, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂, or to 𝘾𝙊𝙾 Fitness on Facebook, because I have all the slides. Like you can look at this meal that I'm talking about, but you probably get the gist of it too. And you can look, if you're on Instagram, after this live stream, look below me and you can see all the meals, everything I'm talking about too. Then I got a handful of blueberries. You know, this is 800 calories, 65 grams of protein. I think it's 17 grams of fiber. Just the perfect, in my opinion, this is the perfect meal. So I'll eat 2 meals like this. That's 1700 calories. Maybe I always have a little bit of dark chocolate. Then I'll have my protein bar, protein shake. I like to eat around 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. I'm around 2,000 to 25. It keeps me at like maintenance, unless I'm looking to like do something like drop some weight or whatever, drop some body fat. Let me pull this up for you again too, just so we see, right? This, like I talked about earlier, this is my perfect diet plan, which I love. 16-8 2-mat plus a shake, protein shake 12 o'clock, high protein, high fiber meal 2 o'clock, another high protein, high fiber meal for dinner, 6 p.m., done at 7, no food for the rest of the night, 16-hour fast. I mean, this is, anyone can do this, and I think can do incredibly well. It's one of the easiest ways to maintain an optimal weight, to lose weight. You can count calories to make sure you're right with your calories, or I think if you did 2-mat plus a protein bar, protein shake, you're going to be in a calorie deficit. Most people will be, just because you're just going to be eating less. Just think there's no snacks. You know, you're going to do incredibly well. But, you know, you can start out with this, lose some weight. If you hit a plateau, then maybe start counting calories. You know, so there's so many different ways to do it, but I love this plan. You get the benefit of being in a fasted state for 16 hours, low insulin, you know, all the hormonal benefits. Plus, you can be in a calorie deficit without necessarily counting calories. I don't think you need those 3 big meals plus snacks all day. Well, I think I may have another meal in here. Let me see if I do. I think I had one more. No, I showed you that one. I showed you that one. Am I done here? Or maybe just this. I just had another similar slide, just with different meals. I think I may have pulled this out. This is 16-8 2-mat with shakes. There you go. So that's the general gist. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I didn't think 200. We had a decent crowd today. I didn't think 200 people would show up because it's Father's Day. And I think everyone, it's interesting because I went to the local grocery store yesterday. It was like insanely packed. I guess everyone's buying their stuff. And I'm going to have a little bit of it. I'll do it on Midday today, but probably have a little bit of a cheat day today. I'm going to do that Italy stuff. I'm going to do the fresh mozzarella. Maybe I'll eat some bread, some supersized and 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 prosciutto. And have a nice big piece of fish. Maybe even drink a little wine later today too. I've been cutting back on the wine since the Italy trip. Drank too much wine in Italy, so I didn't drink anything for now a week or two. So maybe today I have a little bit for Father's Day. All right, so before I go, Alexandra, thanks for the super chat. It's really nice of you. I think someone else gave a super chat too. I always like to thank everyone. Retired to 2019. Thanks for the super chat too. Really, really appreciate it. And also, I'm really thinking about doing, it would be a paid for thing though, obviously, like a group coaching program. I think I'm going to I've been working on it. I think I'm going to really get this thing going maybe over the next few weeks. It's going to be like a 6-week coaching program where it's going to be like what I do here live, but in so much more detail. There's going to be videos, there's going to be homework assignments, there's be like a couple of live Zoom calls with everyone. I'm thinking about putting maybe 10-15 people in the group, maybe a 40 and over, like weight loss, diet, workout type program. If you're interested in some of that, let me know. I think I've been working on it really hard, but I'm trying to get all the particulars down, like the technology end of it and all that, which should be really, really fun. Thanks for the stream. Enjoy your Father's Day. Oh, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. But any questions before I go? You know, anything before I go? We've been on here about almost an hour, 15 minutes. That's generally what I do, hour 15. But I got another 10-15 minutes if you need help with anything, any fitness, health, weight loss questions you have. There's always like a little bit of a delay, so I'll give you a little bit of time. And even if you want to ask something on Instagram, there's a few people on Instagram. I can probably see the comments. I think I can see them. I'm not sure. I hope you're able to hear. at Instagram. Hopefully soon I'll have the capability of being able to go to pull the slideshows into the Instagram. This is the first time I did it though, where I have my phone next to me while I'm doing the YouTube and Facebook. All right, any questions, guys, gals, anything? Okay, I'm gonna wait one more minute because I know it takes a minute or two for the questions to come in. I think we have about 36 comments today, and thanks for showing up. I really appreciate everybody. Let's see what we got. That's funny because more people seem to be jumping in, and it's almost ready to end. But I'll hang in there. I always like to give myself 90 minutes, so I got another 15 minutes. If you have any questions about your diet, about your workout routine, let me know what you're doing today on for Father's Day. If you're gonna call your dad, that's, you know what, interesting. I saw a clip from this guy Clark, another fitness guy that I really like, and he said the best gift you can give your father today is to make sure to tell him to get some blood work done, which I kind of like. I think that's a good thing to do. I'm due to get my blood work done too. It's probably good to get a physical every single year. Probably it's a good thing. Jeff says, sounds good if it's not too expensive. Oh, thanks, Jeff. I think it's going to be expensive though, Jeff. Sorry to say, but I'll still be doing these live streams. I think it is going to be somewhat on the expensive side, but thanks. Here's Alexandra. Thanks. I will see you next week. Oh, thanks, Alexandra. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. All right, guys. I guess I'm going to run. Have a wonderful Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. Make sure you call your dad today, or go see him if you can. How was the smoke in New York City now? Oh, that's interesting. If everyone doesn't know, yeah, those Canadian, smoke. It was totally fine now. It was incredibly, crazy bad, in New York City. I think my kids were in New York City. I'm in Westchester. It was pretty bad though when that orange haze came. I think what day was that? That was maybe Thursday. Was the really bad day a week ago. Crazy, really scary. It shows how small the world really is. But I walked outside, which was a big mistake. I shouldn't have done it, but I did. I don't have asthma or anything like that. Okay, Jeff, doing a workout on really low calorie day. Okay, doing a workout on really low calorie day. Better to do right before your one meal. Once again, similar to Alexander's questions on should you do your cardio resistance training first, depending upon what your goal is. If it's going to be a hard workout and you want energy for the workout, I probably would eat before, right? But if it's just going to be like a moderate workout, a moderate to low, like you're walking or just doing, you're not working too hard, it's not in your program, then you can probably do it afterwards. It's a little bit of a give or take depending upon what your goals are. Hey Chris, hey, thanks for showing up, Chris. Happy Father's Day to you too. I really appreciate you showing up. Chris is normally here. He's here like every single Sunday. I know Father's Day. I didn't think a lot of people would be here today for Father's Day, but thanks for showing up, Chris. I appreciate it. Send your regards to your family and everything. All right, guys. I'm gonna bolt. Thanks for showing up. This was great, and I hope to see everyone next Sunday. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.